Hi, welcome back to MBTV. This is your host, dating and relationship coach Daniel, and today this video is about INTPs, being in a relationship with an INTP, being in the dating world as an INTP, and how to move forward in health with an INTP, what an INTP really needs and deserves and appreciates and wants with relationships and personal growth and sharing their life with somebody. First thing we have to think about as an INTP is that they're introverted and they're very logical with their introverted thinking. And they have a lot of ideas and they're very opportunistic, potentially through NE. They like to explore their ideas, their framework of understanding the world. And then they have introverted sensing, which is about memory, which is about the physical sensory of how things, of senses of the world, 5 senses, really kind of encapsulating all those sensory receiving ends. And then you have extroverted feeling. And so we're going to go over what types are good for an INTP. We're going to talk about, what different types can offer different things for an INTP as far as growth within relationships. And so that's what we're going to start with. So INTPs, they can be drawn to or seen a lot with extroverted feeler dominance. There's a really good, consistent theory that types with a dominant function, like introverted thinking, like INTPs, and types with their inferior function, extroverted feelers, go hand in hand. And so a lot of the time you see INTPs with ESFJs, maybe ideally ENFJs. So ESFJs and ENFJs would be like the first match. And in this kind of coupling, you get a lot of extroverted feeling practice for the INTP, because INTP has sensing, as extroverted sensing as their 7th function, their deception function, something that they try too much with, something that they try to appear great at. They don't need to do that as much with the ENFJ or the ESFJ. They can actually be calm and collected. They don't need to feel like they need to exert themselves in a sensory way. They don't need to fake anything. They don't need to try. And so there's a peacefulness, perhaps, when it comes with dating an ESFJ, ENFJ. There can be a lot of peacefulness in that relationship, because when you take those couplings together, both types, ENFJ and ESFJ, with an INTP, you can get a lot of. It's kind of like it's a really great soft pairing. Anytime I see an INTP and ENFJ together, it's a very compatible typing. And from not just personal experience, but from seeing couples who are ENFJ and INTP and ESFJ and INTP, it's actually really common. And it actually goes very well hand in hand, because they both share, for ESFJ anyway, the introverted sensing and extroverted feeling, right? So they share those two functions together, and they're able to really kind of explore their passions together. They're able to remember things and talk about their memories and talk about things that are meaningful to them, that have been meaningful to them. And so ENFJ and ESFJ are great pairings. ENFJ may be more for intellectual pursuit and more intuitive discussions. It really depends on what the INTP values. But the ENFJ and the ESFJ really bring out that emotion out of INTPs. And you have to remember, INTPs, they cage up their feelings, right? They don't want it to go and run rampant, because although INTPs are very informational at heart, and they're very logical, emotional information can overwhelm them. And so ENFJs and ESFJs are aware of this. And so you have a very, very stable relationship that's based off of one really understanding the other. INTP and ENFJ, ESFJ relationships are very, very well suited for one another. And they're drawn to that comparison that contrasting inferior versus dominant function. And this goes for all types, and you'll see these in my videos. I believe that these couplings with inferior dominant functions are very favorable, and they're very stable relationships, because they do encompass different dimensions of MBTI cognitive functions. And for this reason, you'll see that there's a really good pairing when it comes to this. Not saying that this is the only one. Now, the other two options that I would want to bring up are ENTJ and ISTP. The reason why I bring up ENTJ is because they both lead with thinking, but in different directions. ENTJ with extroverted logic, and INTP with introverted logic. And so, down the ladder, they value the same functions in opposite ways. This is similar to the ENFJ and INFP relationship type, where, both types kind of get each other. Although INTP can sometimes be seen as a masculine type. So, because of that logical preference. So this is really something that INTPs should explore. I believe that ENTJs can really give them a growth, right? So the ENFJ and the ESFJ can help an INTP grow in the sense of extroverted feeling and getting out there and kind of experiencing more. And the ENTJ can maybe bring that logical structure to life, can bring that order to the chaos, right? Because INTPs can be kind of messy, it's a generalization, but their life tends to be, not all over the place all around, but like physically, their interests and everything is kind of extrovert intuitive, right? Everything's kind of all over the place, and there's no set order and structure and time to do things, and ENTJ can maybe put a structure to that. And they share opposing elements. ENTJ can intuitively show the INTP what might be in the future and strategize accordingly. And the INTP can be methodical with touching all bases and leaving no rocks unturned. And so that might be a potential pursuit for the INTP. I don't know if there would be as much passion as there would be if there was an ENFJ-ESFJ pairing. Similarly, you can take a look also, an INTP might desire ISTP for the main reason that they both lead with introverted thinking. And so ISTP is more of like another peaceful kind of relationship, but it's centered based off of using the same kind of preference of introverted thinking, but just routed in a different sensory world. INTP is for, exploring ideas, and the ISTP is exploring the world. And so you kind of have like these two comparing different routes, the same kind of way of thinking, but different pursuits, a totally different world. And to explore that, and to learn from it. Now, in all these pairings, obviously, this is something that should be recognized. This is something that both parties should know about, is the different ways that they can learn from one another. And so I believe that also the ISTP and INTP are also good pairings. The needs and desires of an INTP, I kind of see it as though they can be very passionate, and they have this desire to be in control. And that's very obviously seen through their framework, their thinking, their logical framework. They want their framework to represent the ideas that they have for the logic they see. And so they want to kind of make that reflected, outside. That's introverted thinking. And so it's important that for an INTP that your life, your physical world kind of represents your inner world. And you need somebody who can help you attain that and help you explore that and help you explore your ideas, whether they be just intuitive, thoughtful, or an actual experience. You need somebody who can, journey with you and experience that with you. And an extrovert will definitely do that. Not to say that introverts won't do that with you, but there'll be more of a push. And so you see a lot of that in the ENFJ, ESFJ personality type, where ESFJs are really not about adventuring per se as much as exploring more qualitative experiences, whereas the ENFJ is really more about adventuring and bringing that out of you. And so the desire there is to let those feelings go, to let you explore, if you're an INTP, to let yourself explore your extroverted feeling, inferior, and to kind of explore that with a type like the NFJ, ESFJ. And I think that's really important. I think that's really important that for an INTP, you dabble in your passions. You always bring your passions to fruition, and you explore experiences that bring a really intense an intensity to your life. It's very extreme as far as its purpose for your life, and to always kind of discover things that really mean something to you. And to have somebody like an ESFJ who also has introverted sensing to appreciate that about you, to appreciate that you have passions that actually it means something very deeply to you, and in a way where I'm not aware of. You want to be able to explore extroverted feeling, and be able to be open about that. And what I see a lot is INTPs let their kind of guard down, when you're around that type as an INTP. The relationship style it's very team based. It's very subtle. It's very nonchalant with the INTP, ESFJ, ENFJ, and I'm going to emphasize that because I truly believe that those pairings are pretty good, but I believe that all the types that I mentioned have some place for the INTP throughout life, whether it's friends or relationships. So INTPs with personal growth, you can say that explore your passions, right? Always be intellectually stimulated. Find somebody who can stimulate that logical, those logical discussions, your ideas, talk them out. Be with somebody who values that. Be with somebody who can, at least almost match up to you. And get out there and do your passions, and don't feel as if you need to pretend or fake being someone you're not. There's a lot of INTPs I know who, in a very unhealthy place to seek that control, they pretend to be someone they're not. And I'm referring to extroverted sensing again, because a lot of INTPs, they're the ones that go straight for the quick fixes of socialization. I believe INTPs are just as much fascinated with people as they are with different systems. And so I really believe that, through practice, through experiencing, through people who have extroverted feeling dominant preferences, you'll be able to express a more authentic self. Something you can always work on too as an INTP within a relationship is, being more personally aware of your environment, being more aware of what's going on around you. A lot of the times you can get locked up in your head, and you can kind of drift off in the space when somebody's talking to you. It's really important that in a relationship, you put an effort to make a system for communicating with your partner, and that it's totally okay to approach somebody and create a conflict for the better good of the relationship, or to elicit, like, the thing about INTPs is that they may not be the best daters or escalating and connecting with somebody, but I believe that INTPs any type can do it in their own way. It's not just about type, right? So if you prefer INTP, the next time you like somebody, the next time you want to be with somebody, the way to doing that, the way to being with this person or to maximizing on this relationship, is being at home with your intuition and your logic, and going with that, and using feeling as a way to flirt. Use your inferior function to flirt. The idea is you want to stay true. So if you're on a date, you always want to express who you are. Don't worry about being awkward or being not yourself. Just be totally who you are, because guess what? There's tons of extroverts who are looking for you. Let me tell you. That's why there's diversity in the world, because if you weren't yourself, then you would be doing a disservice to the person trying to find you, for you pretending to be someone you're not. And you can be really happy if and not just complacent, but you can be very satisfied when you are just yourself and you're not worrying about how you come off. Just remember that you have to be yourself, your logical, intuitive self, and show people that side of you, that side of you that cares, that side of you that has passions, that side of you that is doing something with yourself, and the preferences you have for the experiences you have, and to kind of explore your feeling with people, and to just build on that, right? Because I solely believe that for the relationships I've seen with this coupling, the types that INTPs were with knew that, you're introverted and you have this facet for logic, and that's what gravitates them to you guys as an INTP. These types have inferior thinking, and so they're drawn to that, right? Just as you are with feeling and stuff like that. Another thing that I want to suggest for the INTP is that I believe that online dating would be really great for you guys, as far as if you were single and you wanted to find somebody. You're going to find experts on online dating, believe it or not. And I believe that, personally, I think that INTPs should be with an extrovert. Though I could be wrong and everybody's different. I think that you can learn a lot from an extrovert. And it takes a lot of the pressure off of, that kind of interaction, that it may go wrong, it may go right. I can see an INTP get very overwhelmed with thoughts about how things are going and the process, and that may be the fact that you have, you don't have extroverted thinking in your stack, that you can't see the process, or you can't, everything could be all over the place with how you're thinking about with somebody. Just take it one step at a time. Just assess it in the present moment, and try and be present in the present moment, and communicate. Because when you communicate, you can get that information from the other person, and they'll be able to willingly give it to you because they probably like you at that point. And so the idea is to remember to communicate, and to just joke and be yourself, and have fun, and don't worry so much as thinking as to enjoy the moment. I hope you liked this video, a brief overview of INTPs. If you like this video, or you feel like I missed something, just drop it down in the comments below, and I will cover it in maybe another video. This is the first of many series of dating and compatibility videos, and I'm compiling this because I honestly believe that every type should have like a general direction as far as dating and relationships. And you have to remember that people are experiencing other people is just another part of life and personal growth, as psychology and personal development is separate from people. You can self-discover through dating others, through friendships, and regardless if this was in the context of dating relationships, you can use this in other applications like friendships and family. The ideas that I've talked about today, between the functions and your desires, your needs, and the different types that you may want to explore. There is no right type to be with, because everybody has different preferences, and we don't know what kind of preferences you have. You decide what kind of preferences you have. And so the idea is that it's your journey, it's your personal journey, to explore what you like and what matters most to you. So hope you like this video. Again, please subscribe and like. And if you haven't done already, check out our Patreon. Patreon is a donation service. If you really value our content, we appreciate and give back to people who support our work to help others and educate and share perceptions of the different ideas we talk about on our YouTube channel. So it's like a monthly donation patron service, and we give a whole bunch of benefits away for signing up for that. So check out our Patreon. And of course, if you have any thoughts, or you want to reach out to me about any like dating advice or relationship advice, you can click a link down below somewhere, and you'll be able to reach or contact me, or just go on the website, and we can set up a short talk and get you right on track. And aside from that, you can join the MBTI chat rooms that we have. You'll see me, Damon, and Trey, and Blake there. Blake is our newest member, and you can see us there frequently. It's an MBTI chat room. It kind of goes into other topics as well, but you're more than welcome to show up there. We really encourage you to go there in the forums we have. and to talk to other people about the content that we go over, and to grow as a person, and then to explore that with other people. So I hope you go there as well. And so yeah, just comment below and stay tuned for our other videos. I think the next one is going to be INFJ, and so stay tuned for that one. That's going to be a big topic, just as much as this one was. So I hope you got some information out of this. I hope it was useful, and just message me if you need anything else. So this has been Dan, and I will see you next time. So we can maintain this average of equanimity in the environment. And I have probably about maybe 10 to 15 things like that going on. And so, and you can adapt this idea across the board with other functions, but the idea is that for me, extroverted feeling is almost subconscious, because it's just something I naturally do and gravitate towards. So I'm always in the know how to create and create this harmony in my environment.